Hi, everybody. I'm here with Kacey and Juliet. And I'm Tia Fagan. I'm talking about navigating power struggles in the Revolutionizing Parenthood Conference. And I'm just going to pass it along to Juliet. She'll introduce herself and tell you about what she's talking about, and we'll go on to our next topic.
Hi, I'm Juliet Marciano, and I'll be talking about parenting in a family with special needs or extra needs. Kacey?
Hi, I'm Kacey Hartung, and I will be talking about guilt, overwhelm, and piles of laundry, how to find a balance amidst the chaos for working parents. So we were talking a little bit earlier, trying to decide what we were going to share in our little trio today. And we thought about the topic of the best piece of advice you received, or as a coach that you wish people, that you share with your clients, or that you wish people knew when they're kind of embarking on parenthood. So Tia, why don't you start us off with your advice?
Sure. There's so many great pieces of advice, so trying to pick one is always a challenge, but I think one of my favorite ones is don't take it personally, because we tend to take things personal when our kids say something to us, and we may make a story around it and we get hurt feelings or whatever is showing up for us. So I think particularly for me, implementing that really changed the relationship with my kids, because I wasn't taking it personal. They weren't intentionally trying to upset me. They weren't intentionally trying to offend me. It may feel like that from our perspective, but the reality is that's not what's going on most of the time. So that was really helpful for me.
Yeah, they just don't know, right? We forget like how they have to be taught each and every little piece of human interaction. And so they most of the time don't even realize they're being offensive or what have you. And you just, it's great teaching moments too, if you can kind of, depending on the heat of the moment, right? If you can stop in that moment and just say, hey, when you say that, that makes me feel this way. But if you have to circle back around when it's a better time for it all, that's also great. But anything you can do to start kind of opening that dialogue for feelings really is helpful too, I find.
Right. And then remembering too, sometimes what words come out, there's something else going on in the situation, so get curious. What could possibly be going on to have someone lash out at you? Because it's likely not you. And there's more beneath that iceberg of what's below the surface, and really trying to understand that and realize that it may have nothing to do with you. You just happen to be that safe place that the venting can happen to.
Exactly.
That's a great point, too. I think, too, what we've learned through conscious parenting is what our kids say to us and how we take it may not even be related. So for us, they may be, we always talk about triggers or things that we bring, they help us bring to the surface. So they may have no clue that the tone of voice they used or the word they used or the thing they said to you or about you is a sore spot or a touchy spot for you. That has nothing to do with them. That's really something that you need to work on. And in our curiosity as parents, we ask the kids what's going on with them, but we also need to take a moment and say, hey, what's going on with me? And sometimes we would be really surprised at what came up that had nothing to do with that other person in the room. And again, it's all, opportunities for growth for ourselves and for connection with our children. So that's
Exactly.
Totally agree.
Who wants to share their next tip? They're one of their favorites.
I'll go next. I just wanted to share the aspect of not comparing your pandemic experience to somebody else's. Right now, you're seeing a lot of entry points into other people's lives, and it can get very challenging to not look at somebody else and say, maybe I should be doing that, or why aren't my kids acting that way, or why am I having these feelings? That's normal in any aspect of life. And again, like I work with parents of kids with special needs or extra needs. So sometimes it's even more challenging for them. They'll have an experience, somebody else will have an experience, but it looks like somebody else's is either easier, their kids are more cooperative, more, quote, successful. And you know, it has been said, and I don't remember who said this originally, but comparison is the thief of joy. And I think if we compare our pandemic experience to somebody else's, it's not going to turn out well. If this is a once in a century thing that we're saying, so you can't be expected to know how to quote do it right. And really, whatever's happening for your family, we know is the right way for your family. On the other side of that is sometimes if we look at other people whose suffering is greater than ours, we almost feel guilt for having an easier time. Or, you know, there are families who are sending people off to work in hospitals, or they're essential workers, and they're fearing for their lives. And we might be saying, boy, this is so tough to be at home with a bunch of little kids, you know? So again, your experience is your experience, you know, own it and claim it. Don't compare it to anybody else's, and just do the best you can without looking at what other people are doing in that way. So that would be my advice to parents.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's so hard, right? Not to do that. It's against everything that we are kind of raised to do, right? Our from the time we start school is, did you do better on the test than the other person? And so unfortunately comparison is very ingrained in our culture right now. But it's so it's hard for everyone, you know, no matter what situation it is. Like you mentioned so many great examples, right? um, but it's a challenge for everybody no matter what, and we have to just honor that. I love the Maya Angelou quote that is, when you know better you do better. And I feel like that's almost every day, right? So it's like if at the end of the day, like homeschooling or whatever, like didn't go well today, okay, well, I did the best that I knew this morning, right? Maybe I know something different now, so that'll change it for tomorrow. But yeah, for me and for us, we've just really been taking it kind of day by day and moment by moment, and the answers look different almost every single day as to what works and what doesn't.
Yes.
What about you, Tia?
I agree with both of you. I mean, and just remembering, I think we also have this window into comparison more so because of technology. So I think recognizing and remembering, even though, you know, we're on Zoom calls with more people than ever before, you know, you're seeing their social media, your kids are seeing that too. So recognizing, you know, just because what you're seeing, whether or not it may be accurate or not, or the stories we create in our head around, oh my gosh, look at, you know, their house is so put together. Well, you know what, you can see, I mean, you can't see right here my pile of papers, you know, so what you're seeing may not actually be accurate. And then just remembering, like you said, go with him. What works for you? If you're in alignment with yourself and someone else is doing it differently, that doesn't make it right or wrong. It's only what matters if you are in alignment and you are doing, like you said, the best you can in that moment. Because we all have good days and bad days and moments, especially now. I mean,
Moments.
Sometimes it's moment to moment.
Absolutely.
You know? So I love it. Kacey, what's your tip?
So my tip is, it's kind of funny because it fits kind of perfectly with what we've all been talking about. But when I was pregnant with my first daughter, one of my friends told me, just remember, it's only a phase. And I really thought that really just was applied to babyhood. And now as my kids get older, I realize it's all ages. It's just, you keep just moving to another phase and another phase. And I kind of chuckle because it's like, even this pandemic, right? This is only a phase. This is only whatever amount of time it's going to be. We've done it for 6 weeks. Are we going to do it for 6 more? Just knowing that it's not forever. And that kind of goes with the good things and the bad things too, right? Like it's really easy for when kids are being difficult or they're not sleeping through the night to remember, oh, it's only a phase, it's only a phase. But sometimes too, those really fun things end up only being phases as well. And so just being able to kind of appreciate whatever moment you're in, you know, is so important, and something that I remind myself of often.
Yeah, I love that, Kacey. I agree with you. When kids are born, we're told it's only a phase for the rough spots, but I do think it's so important to remember even the good times are going to change as our kids hit each new developmental level. And if we're not, present moment minded, we will miss so many great times, not realizing that that may not happen again. That might be the last time and we just didn't know it. And, it's funny, this just came to me, one of the things that we're having trouble with seniors is them having an abrupt end to their high school or college career. And I do hope that from this, maybe they will get also that appreciation for the present moment. So it doesn't matter that this was your last sports game or your last play or your last this. Really enjoy every one, because as we know, we never know which one will really be the last one. And that's something that we can all get from this experience, is just to really savor each moment. A good moment, savor it, because you never know when it will come, another good one will come. And a tough moment, savor it, because a new one's going to come right after it. So, and each moment will pass. I think that's a really good point to bring up for parents, and again, we'll look back on this pandemic, and even within the pandemic, I'm laughing because I was talking to someone the other day about when it first began and we heard 2 weeks, we're like, oh, we can do anything for 2 weeks. So now we're getting into so even within the pandemic, there'll be the phase of remember the first 2 weeks we were like, oh, then the next stretch when the schooling began, all those challenges, then there'll be the next stretch with, who knows what academic responsibilities are just going to be tossed aside. And so each of these phases have phases within them, and we just have to go with the flow and be present for every moment. I love that point that you made.
So
yeah,
true.
definitely. I mean, and it's always been one of my mantras too, is, this too shall pass. And that's shifted for me over the years. When my kids were little, I have twin daughters, and it was literally, I just have to get through this phase, a lot of survival mode. I didn't have the tools that I have now.
Right.
And now I look at this too shall pass almost differently, like you're talking about, the good moments don't last forever, and we kind of have this idea that if things aren't good all the time, life isn't going well, and it's not possible to have good moments all the time. And so recognizing that when we have these rougher patches, it's an opportunity for contrast and growth. So if we can remember that this too shall pass, and is there a lesson in here that I can take moving forward into the next moment? And I love this phases of all these things. And it just made me think of this. It's kind of related, but not, but how you always hear from your parents, or we tell our kids, oh, if you only, we had to do this or that, walk uphill to school in this blizzard and all that. Imagine what our kids are going to be telling their kids about, hey, when I was your age,
right?
I wasn't even allowed to go outside except maybe for a walk by myself, so if we can kind of find the humor too in this too shall pass, and remembering it's a phase or whatever it is, whatever words work for you, because it's moment by moment.
Yeah.
And we're all here to support each other. I mean,
Yes.
that's what the great thing about this group is. We can all, anyone's having any challenges, we will help and guide you as well. So feel free, if there's something that you can't see that it's going to pass, just put it there and we'll help you down in the comments.
Right.
Anything else anyone wants to add?
I just do want to reinforce that. I know a lot of parents feel alone, and even though you're separate, you're not alone. There's so much support. And within this group, there's so many people that just are truly here to help you. So reach out if you need help. I think the conference is going to be so powerful for people when they see the variety of talks and topics. And though I think they will just learn so much and just have so many little revelatory moments. There's so much opportunity in there for parents to kind of take a look at their own lives and make shifts. Little shifts turn into big shifts, and I think that we're going to see a lot of that. And, about the pandemic, I know there's a lot of people that are really, truly suffering so much. And yet I've seen even those people have found some positive aspects or seen some things that they do want to cherish from this time and hold on to. And so I say for all of us, there will be parts of this that someday we will be nostalgic for. So again, going back to the moment, try and be present for them, write them down if you can. I know a lot of the talks we've talked about, even in this group, are positive things that have happened, changes we've seen in our kids, more connection we've been able to build with our kids. And we'll look back and say, remember when we used to play cards every night after dinner because we couldn't leave the house? Maybe we could do that again one night, like we will be trying to recreate some aspects of this. So I think to keep that in mind, it's good to do that going forward.
Yeah. Kacey, do you have a final comment?
I don't know that I can say it any better than the two of you did. So I think we'll just leave it at that. But again, yes, of course, anybody, I think parenthood does feel like you're the only one who's going through it, because nobody ever admits kind of openly like how hard of a time that they might be having. But I can pretty much guarantee you're not the only one. And
Yes.
Like Juliet said, we are all here to help. Comment below or message us, and we are here for you.
Yes. Beautifully said. Thanks for the great talk, guys.
This was great. Everybody have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Take care. Bye.